thank you so much for coming to Wrong Answers Only Live. We have such a great show for you. We are so excited to be back here at Dynasty Typewriter. We're going to get right into it. I want to just say that today's show is an interactive show, so we have microphones down here. Several times throughout the show, I'm going to be coming to you, asking for your questions, your comments. If you're watching on the live stream, please put your questions and comments into the chat. We're going to be getting to those as well. And on today's show, you and our panel of comedians are going to learn all about food science and molecular biology. We will also find out what our expert is like when he is not creating new foods, making meat out of cells, and studying the science of what we eat. This is going to be a wild show. We're going to have a great time. And let's get right into it. We've got an incredible panel of comedians who are going to be playing tonight. We've got Aparna Nancherla, Rob Hayes, and Jared Goldstein. Give them a big round of applause. All right. Thank you all so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
And now let's find out who today's expert is. So I could tell you about him, but rather than that, let's have him tell you about himself. Here's a video.
85 to 95%, depending on what you're shopping for, of the foods that are on the shelves today in a grocery store in the United States are derived or are containing genetically engineered components. It is the longest running sort of safety data set we've ever had, and it is the safest food products as a category we've ever made are genetically engineered. Whether you sort of understand the science or not, genetically engineered foods, by and large, are arguably safer than their quote-unquote natural counterparts, which I don't even like saying. The reason being is because you can control outcomes a lot more precisely. There's less variability. Hey, I'm Eric. I'm a professional scientist. I currently work on making novel foods you've never even eaten before, and I've worked in novel drugs. I work for the US government. I've built and made companies, and now I'm here on stage with Chris. So, Chris, let's get this show on the road.
All right, Eric, come on out. So, Eric, thank you so much for being on the show and letting us talk to you about your work.
You're welcome.
Yes. And I know this is a topic that a lot of people have strong feelings about, a lot of questions and opinions, and so we're going to get to those across the night tonight. But first, panelists, you're going to get a chance to talk to Eric a lot over the course of this show, but this is your first opportunity to ask someone who studies food science and the creation of new foods about their work. So this is called You Do What, and what is it that you want to know? Aparna, let's start with you. What's your first question for Eric?
Okay, I think your specialty is it just meat or you do everything?
If you can dream it up, I can probably make it.
Okay, great. Okay, so my question is, in the grocery store, when you see something like cotton candy grapes, for example, was that, like, how do they decide what flavors get the green light? Like, do different scientists pitch in the lab, and then they're like, here's what I got this week?
Hey, do you want my job? That's exactly what they do.
Oh, okay.
No, you'd be surprised how actually it is a lot like that. People just actually going, hey, wouldn't it be great if grapes tasted like cotton candy?
Wow.
And then somebody was like, holy shit, I can do that. I have a PhD in chemistry. Like, somebody actually can figure that out. A lot of times, though, like certain like grapes and stuff, sometimes it's an accident. Somebody eats something, and then they're like, oh, wait, this is good. We should make more of this. Let's figure out how I made it in the first place.
Oh, some of them are just mystery flavors.
That's right. You can buy like 17 million varieties of apples. Have you noticed that recently?
Yes.
They've got like crazy names too, like Your Heart's Delight or something like
Yeah.
that. Some, somebody had to invent that.
Wow.
Okay, Rob, your first question. We're going to get into all of these a lot deeper, too.
You were talking a lot about novel foods, and I was wondering if you're going to get into some, like, nonfiction foods.
Name your favorite author, and we'll find out what food we can make from it.
Okay. Edgar Allan Poe.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You did not name a nonfiction author.
I had to pick somebody that everybody knew. I can't go deep into it. It's a lot of books.
Poe's an interesting choice because I don't think he so much as ate as much as drank, and that's all he did.
Okay.
So I don't know if that'd be a good choice, unless you wanted to make raven meat. Which we could do.
I feel like ravens already make raven meat on their bodies.
But this would be like safe raven meat. So if somebody, because if you go out there raven hunting, you might catch something.
That's right. That's right. And
That's true, and then vegetarians could be like, "You don't have to eat regular ravens, nevermore." I know. That got it.
come on, that was good.
That's what
That
I was
was
going
good.
for.
I'd
A
say
snort
that's
and a
how he
hey.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the ideal for any comedian is one
Yeah,
person in the front
yep.
going, hey.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Now, I will drop this, Rob, but I love that your defense to not picking a nonfiction author was that the nonfiction authors you know are too niche.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jared, what's your first question that you'd like to ask?
Do you think regular papaya is a good drag name?
I think not only that, I think their understudy should be like Diet Papaya or something like even more ridiculous.
Regular papaya and dyed papaya are an
Yeah.
iconic duo. There's no doubt about that. Jared, let's flip that around. Do you think that's a good drag name?
It's my drag name now.
Okay, great.
Is my mic on? I
Well,
don't think
Eric,
it is.
you're in the business of creating new foods, and ironically, the exact question that Aparna asked, unscripted, is what we are going to do next, which is we are going to have each of our comedians pitch a food that they would like to have exist and that they don't believe currently exists. And then you will tell us if that's possible and how you would make it. This is my dream food. So, Rob, let's start with you. What is a flavor combination, a food that does not exist that you would like for Eric to invent?
Okay, me and my wife, we constantly going back and forth over mangoes, but she doesn't know how to bust open a pineapple.
Okay.
So could I get a mango that is mango on the inside, pineapple spikes on the outside?
Whoa.
So let me get this right. You want a mango with like little pineapples growing out of it?
Yeah, I want like a Decepticon mango pineapple. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more than meets the eye. Like you think it's a pineapple, but then really it's a mango in there.
Okay. All right.
And I want to also clarify, the problem this is solving is that you and your wife fight over mangoes?
Yeah, like
Like you both want the mango, or you
right.
fight
But
over
if it's just like a straight up pineapple in there, untouched.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So, yes, you can do this.
Come on, let's do it.
You'll probably need about 25 years of scientific research and probably $50 million.
What y'all been doing, man?
I know. Listen, just gonna get the bag. And so, like, in order to do it, though, you would need to insert the genes from a pineapple into a mango.
I'm okay with that.
Or you could do, honestly, we could do the opposite. We could take the mango genes and put it into a pineapple. Would you
Okay.
like, what about a pineapple that grew mangoes?
I wanted to also just pitch, I have a simpler and much cheaper solution, which is a pineapple is bigger than a mango. You could just cut open a pineapple and put a mango inside.
Wait. Chris,
No,
hold on.
wait.
Is anyone here from Louisiana or the South and heard of a turducken?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the turducken of the fruit world? Are we trying to create with this monstrosity?
I was thinking more like when I was like in high school trying to hide marijuana and I cut open a book and then like put it in the book. And then my parents were like, this guy loves that book.
Edgar Allan Poe, right?
It was Edgar Allan Poe.
This sounds like someone who's about to be fired from Edible Arrangements, where it's like, stick to the script, Jared. Not you, Jared.
Okay. I think we've come up with several solutions, one of which costs $50 million, the other of which takes a knife. Aparna, what about you? What's a food you would like to exist that doesn't exist?
Okay, I don't know. This is sort of you could argue either way if it's a food, but chocolate chip vitamin.
A chocolate chip
And
vitamin.
specific-
Honestly,
and-
very
and-
doable right now.
Well, hear me out. It's more like a cookie that's just 100% vitamin. It's not a vitamin that tastes like chocolate
So it's not a
chip.
cookie that has vitamins in it, like your milk has vitamin D in it.
Well, it's like
you want,
I run anemic, so I have to take iron pills.
Okay.
And it always makes my mouth taste like car keys. So
Sure.
I want just a cookie that's 100% iron.
got it. And you don't want that to taste like rust.
No.
Because that's what you'd be eating.
I want all cookie, no aftertaste.
Okay. Here's how you would do it. You'd get rust, and then you would encapsulate it in something like probably like a gel
maybe something that you could get like collagen or something like that.
Okay.
And then you could physically, if it was sticky, push them together into the shape of a cookie. And then chocolate is its own antioxidant, so it's
Okay.
already a vitamin. So you don't need to do
Great.
anything to the chocolate.
That's great.
My kind of scientist.
And then if you squished it all together, you would have a cookie. It would look fucking ridiculous.
Okay.
Because it would be slightly translucent, but it would be glowing red underneath it because of all the rust.
Okay.
But you wouldn't taste it.
Okay, well, that is incredible that we really got to something that feels like it would answer your question. Because as soon as you said it's a cookie, but it's 100% iron, I thought that's just a piece of metal.
Yeah,
I mean, it is. It is. I mean, like we're
Okay.
basically asking, how can I make it so that you wouldn't die eating, an iron hockey puck, basically.
And you
I
came
came
up
up with a solution,
Wow.
a workable solution.
All right.
Jared, what about you? What would you
VCs,
like
I'm
to
looking
pitch?
for cash. You can happily send it my way.
Yes.
Solutions for all problems.
I don't know. I should have mentioned before. Our audience is filled with billionaires.
Hot damn.
Protein French fries.
Protein French fries. You can already get those. They're called the BK chicken fries. Yes. You hear that from the back? Yes. Also, I think in the audience somewhere, it's the guy who helped design all the chicken McNuggets for McDonald's is actually physically here right now, so we could ask him. But a protein, do you want it to taste like a French fry?
Protein French fries.
Okay,
There will
all
be
right.
no
I got it.
explanation.
Wait, you're going to see what he has later. So that's good.
Okay.
You can totally do this if you wanted to. You would have to use artificial flavors though to make it taste like a French fry. And the fry flavor is made out of beef tallow. So McDonald's, I don't know if you know, French fries at McDonald's don't taste as good as they used to taste.
Ain't
That's
that
because
the
they
truth?
switched from beef tallow to vegetable oil. And now they flavor the oil with beef flavor. You can do that with protein, so you could make your chocolate protein taste more like an actual French fry. And
But
you-
would it be a French fry, an actual?
yeah, you could actually fry it. You
Crispy,
could batter
crunchy.
it and fry it, and it would be completely made out of just like protein powder or something that you could glue together.
Could it
It's
be
letting
whey
you
protein?
know that the French fry don't even taste like potato. It tastes like beef.
It tastes like beef.
Oh.
It tastes like beef and salt. See?
See, one thing that I do also love about your science and your research is that even when we're trying to make jokes, it so quickly becomes us being like, but no, you actually have to make that, and we want that to exist. Like, and I think that there is something about that, right? Which is that we have like a discomfort with genetically modified food, a lot of
Sure.
people, but
Sure.
we also are interested in all the types of food that you can create. So I imagine many people, especially in the audience in Los Angeles,
Yep.
have heard that genetically modified foods are bad, and that is many of our like default food.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say when people bring that up to you?
I mean, I've said this before. I understand why you think it's weird, because it is weird. And I'm saying that as a genetic engineer, and I've been doing this for a long time. I think that the interesting thing is that if you just like zoom out and objectively look at it, we've been eating genetically engineered foods for a very long time, and they are incredibly safe. In fact, the food system today, this morning, whatever you ate for breakfast is the safest food we've ever had in the history of humanity this morning. It's always gotten better. Like even 80 years ago, when we didn't have any of this stuff, there was a real risk you would actually get very sick from your morning breakfast. So now what I say is like understanding that using genetic engineering is to make foods cheaper or more nutritious or last longer or get it into people's hands. I think that's the most important thing. But you have to understand some of the science, hence the reason I think I'm here.
Well, I want to get some audience questions. Some of the questions from the online audience already are, do those grapes actually taste like cotton candy, or are they just really, really sweet?
They 100% taste like cotton candy. Go buy some. They
Okay.
really do taste like cotton candy.
Okay.
Which is also a patented flavor that basically no one knows actually what it. So if you wanted to make cotton candy grapes, it'd be actually really hard to figure out what that flavor is.
Yeah.
And you'd probably get sued.
Because nobody knows what the flavor cotton candy is?
The flavor of cotton candy is very, very proprietary. Like a few companies own it, and people have tried to figure out. It's like the Coca-Cola recipe. Again, cotton candy, the thing that everyone knows what it is. You can imagine cotton candy flavor in your head right now. But if I asked you to describe what it is, you wouldn't be able to tell me. You'd say cotton candy.
But it's like, is it owned by like a weird carnival guy?
Yeah, it's a carny from around back.
It kind of feels like that's who would own it, right?
It's One-Tooth Joe.
Okay.
He wears an eye patch.
I would believe that as a fact. But, okay, here's another question from the online audience. Is there a difference between genetically engineered and genetically modified?
For all intents and purposes, no.
Okay.
The common term is GMO. You probably heard genetically modified, but genetically engineered is just the term that scientists use. It's the same thing.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next segment, and then I want to get questions or reactions from the actual in-person crowd as well. So, Eric, you've worked on a bunch of different food products, and in fact, when it comes to different areas of food science, we already talked about this a little bit, you've worked on or consulted in nearly every area of them. Would you say that that's like a fair characterization? Okay, so panelists, in this next game, I'm going to show you a photo of a food, and you're going to tell me if Eric has worked on it or not. And bonus points if you can guess what it is that makes this food special or what it is. Okay, this is compliments to the chef. So let's start. Any of you can answer at any time. I'm not going to call on you, so just shout it out if you think you know what this food is and whether Eric worked on it. First up, what do you think this is, and did Eric work on it?
Come on, man. Everybody knows what that is.
Macaroni. Yeah, wait, macaroni.
Yeah, what is the thing we're supposed to look at?
Okay, that's
Oh,
a
is it
great
Beyond
question.
Burger?
But it's macaroni in there, and
And some
and
like
French
onion
fry.
rings on the top.
Okay, so
onion rings.
This
right.
is a special order. This ain't on the menu.
This is
So,
yeah, this is off
yeah,
menu for
this is definitely
sure.
off menu.
So what would you say that this item is then, Rob?
I say you go up to the waitress and be like, get your pad out. And then
Don't try to remember this.
this is the Chris.
Okay, this is you think this is my order?
Yeah. I think you trying to get your own sandwich at different places. You don't know what else they got, so you throwing it all in there. You like put the mac and cheese on there, put the burger on there, put some of the toppings under the burger, cause you know what I'm saying. I'm wild like that. Put the pickles and the onions and the lettuce under there, and then on the top, whatever you got in the fryer, just dump that in there.
I will say it is a true goal of mine that I would walk into a place and they would say, "We have the Chris on the menu," and I think you have correctly identified how desperate I am to make that happen. Any other guesses before we reveal? the
Wait,
answer?
are we saying whether
The first question is, do you think Eric worked on this?
Right.
And the second one is, what is this?
How can Eric not work on this? It's everything on there.
do you
It's
mean
the works.
by work on this?
It's the
Do you mean
works.
did he
Everybody
eat
worked
this?
on it.
You know what? That is not what I meant, but I'll interpret it broadly. Did Eric do work on that? Could include, did he eat this specific burger?
I say yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're all seeing like 9 foods, right? So
I do like that, Jared, your approach to this is like when you get those colorblindness tests where you're like,
Yeah.
are we all seeing the
Okay.
cue? The cue was in there.
I see what's happening. This is an AI-generated image. This ain't even real food.
Yeah.
It's not even real
Can't believe
food.
anything.
Like,
see
this
these
isn't
days.
Yeah, this
actually
chat-
even
this chat-
possible.
Okay, well, shaggingly, Eric did not work on this. This is just an actual menu item at Guy Fieri's restaurants.
okay.
That is the bacon mac and cheeseburger available at Flavortown.
Wow, we
Put that on a flip-flop.
Yes.
we really sat with that
Wait,
one.
actually, if you put that wig on and the goatee, it's like you're.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh,
on a
man.
second. I thought we were
We
friends.
might be in
Guy
Flavor
Fieri.
Town.
I thought we were friends.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we are definitely going to add Guy Fieri hair onto you in post. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, next one. What about this one? What is this, and did Eric work on it?
Again, I'm seeing 9 foods. I don't like. Is it bread? Is it lettuce? Is it chicken? Is it the fries?
That definitely looks like it was made in a
Is it
lab.
the human hand?
That's like
Yes.
that's like a Popeye's chicken sandwich today. It won the lottery. So it's like I'm gonna be on a plate now.
That to me looks like the.
Only 3 chicken sandwiches in the history of humanity have ever been on a plate. It's paper or nothing.
Okay, this Popeye's chicken sandwich on the day that it won the lottery. Do you think, let's just go down the line, do you think Eric worked on this or not?
No.
I don't know. He got big nuggets out tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yes.
Aparna?
I think for sure.
Okay, we had the full spectrum from no, maybe, sure. And yes, this is something you worked on. This is lab-grown chicken from a company called Upside Foods.
That's right.
So tell us about this. What is this?
So that is actual chicken meat fried up. And by the way, so I designed it and I said it absolutely needs to taste like a Popeye's fried chicken sandwich. That was literally what it was compared against. Battered and fried. The cells from a chicken were taken from its like muscle like 4.5 years ago. Like chickens don't live but for a couple years. And then we took those cells and you took them to the facility and you feed them and you grow them and they're just muscle cells. They're just running, they're just doing the muscle things. And then in the course of 2 weeks, you get more muscle, like lots of muscle, like way more than a chicken could ever produce. And then you take it out, you form it into a chicken fillet, and then you deep fry it and you eat it.
Now, why would... Oh, please, yes. Jared, please.
Finally! How do
Okay.
I stoke a reaction?
So do you start with like, it's like cellular, and you're like, chicken cellular.
That's right, with
and
my
then
monocle.
it grows until you're like, I can put this away because I can see it now.
Yep.
And then
right.
you keep growing it, and it's just like a kind of shapeless chicken flesh that's growing?
Basically.
Basically, or yes?
I mean, yes. Like it's, okay. Let's take
Will
a
it
giant
rot?
step back on the scientific stage here for a second. Okay. Everything in you has DNA, right? We all know that. DNA, every
Not
cell.
me. Don't speak for me.
Yours is called papaya or whatever. There's probably a gene somewhere in there for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the DNA is the instructions for the cells. In every cell in your body, you got 6 feet of DNA. Every cell in your body, if you stretch it out, it'd be 6 feet. It controls everything. It makes everything your body can make. And then it's inside of a cell. And as long as that cell has food and a warm place to grow and oxygen, it will just keep doing whatever it was doing. So if you were a muscle cell, just make more muscle. If you're doing brain cell, you make more brain cells. So the only thing that was done was taking a living muscle cell out of a chicken and then just giving it the stuff it was already doing, and so it grew more of it.
So what's the benefit of this?
So the whole reason this is called cultivated or cultured meat was created, or lab-grown meat, which is, we don't hear that very often in science, but like this was created because it is very, very, very energy intensive to grow cows and chickens and fish and what have you. And people eat a ton of meat. The demand for meat is growing. By 2050, we're expected to have double the amount of meat, the meat that we need today. Said differently, by 2050, we're going to have to feed 10 billion humans simultaneously. We're going to have to grow as much food in the next, however many years that is, until 2050, than we will have grown in all of humanity up to this point.
Now, we have other foods.
We do.
So why, is the benefit of this that you don't have to kill chickens? Or you
don't
just
have to
kill
kill
one chicken and then you make all the
You
other
kill
chicken?
one, save millions.
Okay.
Or in some cases, you don't have to kill a chicken. You can just take it live from a living animal. It goes on its own way.
Okay.
So why do you have to do this?
Or is it better environmentally, or is it both?
Way better environmentally. So you don't have to, we use 40% of our land, all the land on Earth, to grow food, to grow our animals. So all
We
of our
get the land back.
So you get your land back. It takes 30 calories to grow 1 calorie of cow. You got to feed it 30 calories to make 1 calorie of cow.
Wow.
You only need to feed this 3. So to put that in perspective, the most efficient animals that you got to feed are insects. They're just like 1.5 calories to make 1 calorie. But no one wants to eat crickets. If you've had cricket flowers, it's gross. But this, it's 3 calories. That's 10 times more efficient. So you get land back, less animals have to die. I mean, I personally like eating animals, but some people don't want to eat animals because they see that as cruel.
Okay, so we have more photos, but I want to just really quickly, this is new for me, new for you all. Aparna, I know you are a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
Would you eat chicken if it didn't come from a chicken?
Yeah.
Wait, I have an important question before you answer that.
Yeah.
Do you like the taste of meat?
I'll eat like a veggie nugget.
But have you eaten meat ever?
Yeah, I ate it as a kid.
Did you like the taste of it?
I liked it okay.
Okay.
I could go either way.
All right.
Okay, so if you
assuming
had a veggie
did.
nugget that was just a chicken nugget.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
think-
sure
Yeah,
I
I think
would.
I don't know. I feel like if someone was like, it's all muscle and it's chicken lab or whatever. I don't know.
I do feel like that energy coming at me before serving me any food, I kind of be like, you seem a little too into
I
me
don't know
eating
when
the
you-
food.
when-
But what if we made protein fries and then we made lab-grown beef flavor and we
I-
put that into them? Would you eat the protein
I
fries?
don't know. I keep feeling like I'm hearing
Why
Joe,
won't you eat my protein fries?
like Joe Rogan trying to sell this to me.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Okay, what about Rob? Would you eat this?
Would I?
First off.
I feel like I've already have. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like hearing
Oh,
it,
that's
it does sound like they was already making it look like dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh.
I'm still waiting. Yeah, we're waiting on.
Yeah.
I mean, could we make dinosaurs? Dino nuggets? Anybody? Okay.
I'm talking about the Dino Nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do
But what if we
wonder
made them
how
out of
you feel
dinosaurs?
after watching Jurassic Park. I do feel like that.
Yes. The next expert you get out here is Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
Life finds a way.
Is
Jared?
this available for eating?
Yeah, you can buy this right now. This is federally approved. FDA and USDA have both signed off. They evaluated it for multiple years, and you can buy this at a restaurant.
What does it say on the bag, or is it called something?
It's just called. I think this is called Upside Chicken.
Upside. Oh, right, you said
Yeah,
that.
like the
Okay.
brand name. But I mean, if they don't say that, it'll say it's cultivated chicken.
Cultivated. So, wow. I think I've
Okay.
eaten cultivated chicken. I think.
Yeah, I thought they meant like, only the good ones come in. Like,
It's culture.
get out of here,
Oh,
you
yeah,
whack
yeah,
chicken.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like
sophisticated.
curated.
Like a curated list of like,
Curated chicken.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
Mr. Bucks,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
coming in. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at another one. What do you think is going on here, and is this something that Eric has worked on?
Fish? No.
Okay.
Firm.
I feel like the whole thing with lab meat is it was never an animal at any point, so I'm gonna say no.
Okay. But you agree with Jared that it's fish.
I agree
And
that
Jared,
what I'm
points for
looking
rapid fire answering,
I
for
agree
sure.
what I'm looking at is two fish.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, maybe there's a world where they modified some fish for people to go fishing.
Okay.
So like the sport of fishing. So it's like they modified. They really love fake bait.
But then they're alive. They modified a living fish.
Yeah. So they took a living fish and they was like, you gonna love a worm whether it's like real or not. You know what I'm saying? We got to get these people
Yeah.
who love fishing but not as good at fishing. And then that's when they come in with the fake fish. You know what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
fake fish, they more hungry for fake bait
Yeah.
because they fake.
There's a
You are what you eat.
Come on.
There was a deep narrative and lore created there. Eric, why don't you tell us? Have you worked on this?
I have.
Okay. And what is going on here?
So this is the very first genetically engineered animal that you can eat. So that right there is an Atlantic salmon, and it was genetically engineered by a company. It has a gene in it from a Pacific salmon, a king salmon, and a gene from an eel. And in it, it makes that fish grow twice as fast as a normal. So that one small one, those are the same age. Those fish are the exact same age. They were born at the exact same time. That is its normal size. It reaches market weight in half the time. And you can buy these fish. They are sold in the U.S.
It's called Aqua Advantage.
Aqua Advantage salmon. And they are grown in the highlands of Panama,
Oh,
which is not its normal location.
that also does not seem like a water place.
It was just done on purpose. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, Jared.
Okay. So we cloned like a sheep, right, in the 90s.
Yes, Dolly.
Dolly. Is that like that?
Uses the same technology, yes.
So we're still cloning animals.
We've been cloning animals for 40 years.
Oh my God. Okay.
so-
This is news to
Wait,
me.
okay. All right. So
I thought we just did the one.
before we go down the whole Gattaca
Okay.
bullshit, when you clone something in science, all that means is the DNA, the code,
Yeah.
is just replicated like a Xerox
Into a
machine.
monster.
However, if I were to clone you, do you have any siblings?
I do.
Okay. So you share about 25% of your DNA with each sibling. So
Okay.
some of them is in you, some of you is in them, right? If I were to clone you and make just use your DNA, the clone that came out would not look like you. That's a myth. Clones don't look exactly the same. Because, one, the womb has a huge influence. How you were raised, the diet, changes all your genes. So they might come out much heavier. They might come up shorter, taller. They come out a different sex, potentially. So they probably look like, your clone would look like a sibling or a cousin.
And can we actually go back several slides?
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, break down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guy Fieri plus an eel.
Okay. Last food, and then we're gonna get some questions because I know the audience has things they want to ask. What about this? What is this? And did Eric work on it?
Is it cake?
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
you're right. It's
that's a
cake.
cake.
It's not. Eric didn't work on it. It's just a cake that's made to look like steak. And according to the recipe I found online, it only takes 7 steps, which seems impossible. I mean, like, I think literally one of the steps was like decorate the cake to look like steak. But I do love happy 33rd birthday to whoever that is.
Lovey dog.
Lovey dog.
Lovey dog.
Okay, let's get some questions. If you are in this live audience, or if you're online, we want to hear your questions. There are microphones right on either side. You can get up and go down there. So that people can hear you, you have to get up and go to them. While you're coming up, I will just have one question from the internet audience, which is, are there rules preventing people from doing this with human meat? That seems like an ethical concern, and that seems like a person who really wants to eat human meat.
Yeah.
Oh, that was your question.
Okay.
Wait, come back.
We got some
You need to ask it
conflict-free
anyway.
cannibals
What's
here.
your
Wait,
name?
what was your version of this question?
And also, first of all, what's your name?
I'm Chantal.
Hi, Chantal.
Yeah, I wanted to know, ethical cannibalism, can we make a steak of like Beyonce or of like...
Oh, wow. What a specific.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I was thinking we were gonna go
Right.
villain.
I
but-
know. I can't believe.
Okay.
I also can't believe that literally like 100% of humans watching this show were like, okay, I hear the science. Can we eat humans?
Can we-
And then you had even picked out the human.
Right.
Okay, so
Beyonce is crazy. Like, you got to get somebody on Cameo first.
now I will say it does seem to me like even if you had the science and there were no ethical concerns, the hardest part there would be, like Rob said, getting Beyonce to agree to that.
I mean, if you were very surreptitious, you wouldn't necessarily need to.
Okay, that definitely sounds like you've eaten Beyonce meat.
Okay.
Wait,
So,
Wait.
what is the ethical concern?
yeah.
I mean, okay.
Too
It's
good?
meat. You made it.
First off, you cannot clone humans in the United States. Like, that's
Okay. Very important caveat.
very important caveat. We have been able to clone humans for 40 years. So the technology to clone humans has existed, no problem. To your question, I get asked this. This is the number one question.
The number one question is, can I eat humans?
Can I eat
People
humans?
wanna
It's the
eat people
number
and go to
one
sleep.
question.
People
It's not going to
wanna
make
eat
Popeye's
people.
chicken. It's not how
But they
can I
wanna
save
sleep
the
at night.
climate. It's always, can I eat myself? Okay. So, yeah.
Myself, that's
It did not
crazy.
say. I will say the vibe I was getting was not myself.
I mean,
So you said ethically. So the only time people have weighed in to say it might be possible is if you were to auto cannibalize, meaning you made meat from yourself and you ate it. I wouldn't do that necessarily because humans apparently don't taste very good. We taste like a cross between venison and pork.
Yeah, that's obviously the follow-up question. Thank you.
Okay.
How do you know?
so
How
you know
do
what
you
human
know?
flavor's like.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
So
The human grapes
because
flop.
there are scientists who have studied cannibalistic tribes and have like reported and asked them, what do humans taste like? And they've told them what they taste like.
That is a brave interviewer. Can you imagine going someone and having them be like, and now imagine that delicious meat you love. What does it taste like? Don't eat me.
It tastes like butt meat.
Okay.
So you were saying again, like you look at things under the microscope, right?
Yeah.
So you can look at the structure of like human muscle or any animal muscle, and you can draw comparisons to animals we eat. That's also how we know things like that. So our muscle structure looks similar to like wild pork.
Wild pork. I bet you my muscle structure looks like a very lazy pork.
Yes, I would say more and more these days we actually might be delicious if people were to try us.
Okay.
So the question is like also then would a celebrity do it? I've been asked, Beyonce, thank you. Brad Pitt is the #1 person I get asked.
Really? Brad
Pitt. People want to eat Brad Pitt.
Wow.
Honestly, even as you said the sentence, I was like, okay, I'd probably try it. Okay. Please, what's your name?
Hi, is this on?
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me okay? All right. My name's Scott. I was just curious about the biodiversity issues. If you're constantly genetically modifying things, making Xeroxes of Xeroxes, what happens to the biodiversity once those are introduced into the environment? You hear about Monsanto suing farmers because breezes knocked their seeds into their yard, and now they have, corn in their yard, and they get sued just for having the wind happen.
Yeah.
Okay, great question.
Yeah, super great question. So putting terrible business practices aside, because part of that is the science itself of like how do you preserve biodiversity. That Aqua Advantage salmon is actually a good example of that. I said it was grown in Panama. That's not its normal habitat. It's grown there so that in case it were to escape into wild waters and then it wouldn't have enough oxygen to survive and it would die. On top of it, it has been genetically engineered to have a terminator gene in it. That
doesn't sound like what I'd want getting out in the wild.
Yeah, why they traveling
boy.
through time to kill some dude?
That was like the island.
Wait, what is the Terminator gene?
Yeah,
Yeah.
does that mean it self-destructs?
to help it in case it ever were to escape out of its very controlled environment that it could not survive. It would have to go down 2 mountains to get to the ocean, live in water that's too warm for it, and somehow evade its own genetic destiny.
Okay, but you had a question.
But to like the biodiversity part, it's really hard with plants because once they get there, they're in. The good news is genetic engineering isn't the default. So if you change something in an animal or a plant and it gets into the environment, evolution has a way of pushing that gene out if it's not supposed to be there. So there's actually a lot of evidence that, like especially with animals, genetically engineered, if it gets out, the gene is eliminated naturally through the population. So.
And we're sure about that?
Well, I mean, there's no way to be 100. I'm a scientist, so I'll never tell you it's 100% sure. But we don't have any evidence of it yet. And we've been doing it for 40 years.
I do want to ask a follow-up question to your question because I think it gets at something that I kind of am a little uncomfortable with. And we talked about it in the pre-interview, but I think it's interesting for everyone to hear is a lot of the reason why I'm uncomfortable or kind of like get skeeved out by genetically modified stuff is because there are these like big companies that have kind of done like objectively evil stuff, and they are very pro genetically modified foods. But then when I think about, like we talked about, there are millions of people who haven't died in a famine because we've made, for example, like rice that is more nutritious and easier to grow, and that doesn't seem at all bad to me. So how much of the like problem with, well, obviously I know you have a perspective here, but I'm curious to hear your perspective on how much of this is like it's been used for bad versus it could be used for good too, and how much is just that it's a dangerous tool and we need to be careful what we use it for?
I would argue it hasn't been used for like scientific bad yet. I don't think it ever will. But the point though is very, very, very bad business practices and very, very nasty companies have done very bad things with it. But like, for example, none of y'all knew about the genetically engineered fish. That company is like stellar. Like they're very transparent. They talk about the science. They label it and tell you what you're eating. Like they want you to be fully informed. So I think there's like good actors in there. On top of it, you brought up the most important point. People can actually, like we're now getting quality like calories to people all across the globe now because of genetic engineering. So people have access to food where they may not have had food before.
Okay. I want to get more questions, so here we go. Tell us your name, please.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And what celebrity do you want to eat?
Actually, let's get that from everyone too. If you had to eat one celebrity, who would the celebrity be? It can't be Beyonce or Brad Pitt.
I don't care about celebrities.
Okay, wow. Okay, I'll even just take. I'll just take a name of a person. We don't even have to know them. Who would you eat?
Beyonce.
Beyonce. That's the non-famous Beyonce.
Talking about
we don't
different
know that
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Different
Okay.
Beyonce.
What's your question, please?
So, on the topic of bioengineering, I'm sure there's probably already some research going into whether, let's say, the cloned fish could actually be used to protect the environment. So, like, let's say eating plastics in the water or something like that. Has there been a lot of research done into that?
Yeah, in fact, there's an approved genetically engineered fish that's not for eating that you can buy. Has anyone ever been to PetSmart and seen the glowfish? They're little tiny fish that glow neon pink, green under a black light. Have y'all seen any of these? Just go to PetSmart and be amazed. They're genetically engineered. They're clear fish. You know, some fish have clear bodies. They were actually originally created to be released intentionally into streams, and when pollutants got to a certain level, they would eat them, and it would turn on the gene that was in their body and make them glow, which would show where the pollution was. And no one fucking bought them. So they ended up pivoting the business, and now they're glowfish.
Oh, wow.
So wait,
You have to
so,
feed them plastic
so
to make
now
them
they
glow?
got
No,
the
no, you don't have
poison
to.
in them
They
already
just-
preloaded?
They're just microplastic ready.
Whoa.
No, what they did is instead of turning the switch on, they basically just turned it on permanently without it. And so they just glow all the time now. But they were
That is
originally
crazy.
invented.
Turn the switch on.
What's that?
That's just that.
So the fish contain genes, like they have genes in them from corals, from jellyfish. They took those genes and put them into fish, and now they glow pink and green. They're making genetically engineered sharks now too, from what I understand, like pet sharks that also glow.
Okay, well, I would say,
Okay.
honestly, my problem there
Okay.
is it starts way before the genetic engineering, and it's why do you have a pet shark? But we're going to get to you, but we're going to move to our next segment real quick, which is we've already learned a lot about the world of genetically engineered foods. And I think we can agree, based on our conversation, that part of the problem here is there are some real concerns, and there's also definitely a PR problem, right? That they don't have the best public messaging, and you three are all professionally and personally master communicators, and you're also Hollywood insiders. So I would like for you to each pitch and audition a mascot for Eric's Foods. And if you get this correct, you could have the role of this mascot. So I'd like for you to each, one by one, pitch your mascot and then give us a brief 15 to 30 second audition for what you might look like in that role. Aparna, let's look at the mascot that you have designed for
I
us
don't
here.
quite know what the audition part is, but okay. Okay,
It's so good.
Yeah, meet Larry the Lab Flesh. I didn't want to make Larry look like an actual animal because I feel like that's people's problem sometimes with eating genetically modified meat. They're like, I don't want to hurt an animal. So we have kind of just a shape here with sort of animal ideas. And then the way people prove whether something is meat, you know, they're like, I don't need anything with a face on it. So this has two faces, so you know it's definitely meat. And then I just have a few fun taglines. If you weren't supposed to feast on me, why was I born in a dish?
Okay.
Two faces, one great taste. Well, I don't know. I understand the audition part.
You've already done it.
Oh,
You're performing it right now.
Great,
Beautiful.
great.
All right, Larry the Lab Flesh, that's a real strong contender.
I do. Also, I want to know, would you just be selling the pool of nourishing slime? You know, out here in LA, you could probably make that into a beauty product.
Oh,
Yes.
sure. It has so many purposes.
Okay. Next up, Jared. Let's see what you have here.
Oh my God.
Okay, so that is her name is Corn.
Okay.
Her name is Corn, and she's very beautiful. She has a BBL. And that's her choice, and that's her business. And that's I think she's, you know, I don't need to speak for her.
Okay, great. Would you care to, and you can decline, of course,
Yeah.
to perform a brief audition to play the role of Corn?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was going to be hard to beat the lab-grown
Yeah,
flesh, but
I feel like whoever wanted to eat Beyonce is sold on.
oh yeah.
Oh, and just to be clear, like that is her butt, that's her back, and her tits are on the other side.
Okay.
Oh, so she's like looking over her
Yeah,
shoulder.
she's kind of like showing you.
Okay.
Okay, I see it now. All right.
Yeah.
I will say, looking at that picture, I am amazed that it required clarification. Amazed that Rob needed you to say that for him to see what was happening. Rob, why don't you tell us about your mascot here that you've designed?
Okay, so I did the assignment wrong. Like, I thought we were supposed to make something that, like, anti genetically modified, so I made it scary. But honestly, that's the way we get the kids, because kids are like really, you know what I'm saying? They down for the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
So if we sell it on like, oh, it's a nice guy, they don't want to eat that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's more for like the garbage pail kids, you know what I'm saying, out there that's like, I want to eat a monster. And then, you know, it's got like boxing gloves for hands, you know, so like this meat will punch you in the face. You know what I mean?
And does this have a name?
Meaty.
Meaty, okay.
Unmeaty.
Unmeaty.
Because it's not. Is it meat? Maybe meaty with a question mark.
Okay, the name is
By the way,
Meaty.
you might have to go into it. There's an actual company called Meaty,
Oh.
Damn.
and they make
always
meat.
happens to me.
They make meat out of fungus, out of mushrooms.
That looks like it could literally
Yeah,
be.
that
Okay.
does.
Okay.
All
You
right.
So
should
maybe
pick-
your burger became sentient and is terrorizing the world.
That feels very possible. Okay, Rob, would you like to give us your brief audition for the role of Meaty?
Don't eat me, kids. They're gonna be all over it
Yeah.
now. They're gonna be
Great.
all over it.
Now I want.
Also, I think unmeaty and corn.
oh
There's
wow.
certainly, I think there's definitely potential for that extended
Right?
universe.
That's
Eric, you've got some great contenders there.
I do.
What would you choose? And I do think there is a right answer.
I'm gonna go on pure artistic quality and like the branding that is associated. Aparna, yours is fantastic.
Whoa, okay.
Just again because it's almost on it's on the other side of sarcastic. So I think people would actually be like, oh shit, I would eat this. This is too ridiculous to not be delicious.
And that, I will say that not getting the job does mean that Corn and Meaty are going to have a lot more time together to fight. So, great work. Okay, you, whoever was up here, if you want, I'm happy to come to you to get your question. It's also fine either way. Please tell us your name.
Brandon.
What celebrity will you eat?
Omar Apollo.
Okay.
oh.
What's your question?
I was going to ask something about Norman Borlaug, but the cloning thing got me in thinking about that. So I was curious. Barbara Streisand, I think, has cloned her dog like 40 times or something.
What?
So how different are those dogs, given how complex dogs are?
Okay, great question.
I want to hear the
Also,
commentary on this
follow-up
first
question: is Barbara eating her dog?
Oops, another one gone. Better start over. Man, I got to stop having barbecues.
How different are those dogs?
They're going to be very different. Again, unless you had the exact, like you'd have to go back in time, like with the same mother, the same womb, the same, everything would have to be the same. That clone is going to be different. By the way, there are cloned cattle that have been made that you haven't technically eaten. They have not been allowed to be in the food supply, but they have been like made. We've been cloning cattle for a long time. They don't look anything alike. So again, cloning something is not a Xerox. It's just a suggestion.
So someone on the online chat is also asking, is cloning muscle meat? Is that really cloning, or is that just like, is that different? Like cloning a whole animal versus cloning a
It's
meat?
just a scientific term. Like cloning just means copying the DNA, just like a Xerox machine. But like the cells and the muscle come out differently. So like we didn't talk about this, but when you grow cultured meat, because it's so sophisticated, if you change its diet, the meat will change its flavor. It'll change like the way it looks. You can get white meat, you can get dark meat, you can get like tough cuts, you can get tender cuts. Like all that changes. Go for it. You're biting your leg.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Wait, did I just come up with a new like drag name? Tender cuts?
Yeah. No, I just started thinking about titty meat. I didn't say it, for the record. I didn't say it.
So when you clone a cow, it doesn't look like other cows, but does it still look like a cow?
Yes. In
Oh.
fact, they just all look related, like they're all siblings. That's
Okay.
like the key thing.
I would hate to clone myself and the clone be hotter than me. That might be when I eat a clone. It's like,
Yeah, come here.
give this dude the glow gene or something. You know? Like, yeah, it looks
But
crazy.
wait, are you I guess my question is, are you cloning it into a live cow? Because then you're still hurting a cow.
No, you can do is you can take like a cow's egg, and you can
A
take.
cow's egg?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love how close.
Aparna, the birds and the bees.
No, but Aparna, I love how close you were to like gotcha.
When I'm
Cows don't make eggs. It's not a chicken.
You spent way too much money on that PhD.
I know mammals, dog. Like,
I love the moment of gotcha that I saw in your face. That's really spectacular.
All right, I had them up at this.
Yeah.
Yes. So an egg has a DNA in it. You take that out. You can put in designed DNA, all the DNA that you want, and then you would just fertilize it, and you'll get a cow.
I've sometimes heard people explain their version of. Maybe this isn't universally veganism, but I've heard people explain what it means to be a vegan as to not eat any products that are the product of animal suffering.
Correct.
And I wonder, is there a world where this could mean that meat would not be the product of animal suffering?
Yeah, that was the original idea. Was that ultimately you get to a point where the animal doesn't have to suffer at all to be able to eat the food that we love. So it's not quite there yet. Sometimes you do have to use slaughtered animals. Sometimes you have to take it from an animal, and that still inflicts pain on it when you take a biopsy. But ultimately, the goal is to never have to ever touch an animal ever again, but still eat animal meat.
Okay, I have this is not at all a joke question, but it's something I've been thinking about, which is how much do you think people's discomfort with this kind of stuff comes from the fact that we never actually think about where our food comes from? If we thought about where any of our food comes from, we would feel really uncomfortable, and this is making us really aware of it? Or how much of you think is unique to this is new and different?
Yeah, I would say, where does the meat come from? Where does it come from? The grocery store? That's what most people say.
the truck.
Yeah.
The
truck.
They gotta bring it.
You buy it off the back of the truck.
I see the trucks. I see the trucks all the time.
Okay, I understand now. I was going to say, that actually sounds like I won't be eating at your house.
No, I mean the truck goes
like,
to
"I
the
got a
grocery
guy."
store. You know the scary part in the back.
I got a meat guy.
Yeah, the part that you're not allowed to go to, I know exactly what you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah, most people think their meat comes from the grocery store. That's where its life start. They don't think about that an animal had to be, in order to have that happen. And it's not a pretty process, but we love meat. There's some plants that are, processing 1 million pounds of cows a day. That's how many cows are being killed in one facility. And
Whoa, that's so ironic. They're called plants.
Right?
It is.
We can end the show now.
Okay, great. Yep. Jared, I do love that you raised your hand every time.
Every time.
Is there a way to do this with dairy milk?
Yes. In fact, you can buy a product right now that's already done that. So you can buy ice cream. It's called Brave Robot. And you can buy
That's
it.
hard.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
You can buy it, and it is actual milk that was produced outside of a cow. So it's cow's milk produced. In this case, it was produced by yeast and bacteria. So they were genetically engineered to make cow's milk, and then they just milk them to. I'm fucking with you. They don't. So they make milk, and you can buy that right now. You can also buy cream cheese made by the same company. So you can actually buy that right now, and no cow had to suffer.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you do a lactose-free milk?
Yes, but you don't need to genetically engineer anything to do it. You just put an enzyme in. You can buy that. It's lactase. If you look on the ingredients, you can buy it, or you can take a pill.
I was kidding.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Okay, we're coming close to the end of the show, but if anyone else has questions, come line up and I'll get to you. But panelists, I want to make sure that this is the part of the show where we want to know a little bit more about what Eric is like as a person, not just as a guest expert. So we're going to find out what he's like outside of his research in a game of 2 truths and a lie. And we already know that Eric is an inventor and an engineer. So I'm going to give you 3 machines or devices, and you will have to guess which 2 are things that Eric really has built in his spare time, and which one is the lie. He has not built it, at least not built it yet. Okay. A working telephone built completely from scratch, a meat smoker for an aspiring barbecue pitmaster, or a solar-powered bidet. Which of those do you think is the lie? Which has he not actually built yet? And you can discuss this amongst yourselves. What do you think? Tell us what you're thinking.
I'm gonna think 3 is the lie, cause why you pooping outside?
Yeah. It's like,
You
how
know
is
what I'm
that
saying?
toilet out getting sun?
Yeah, if you attaching solar panels to your bidet, it's
He's sweating
like,
right now because he has to explain why he's pooping outside. In a moment.
I feel like the smoker, like
I'm worried they're gonna put a Guy Fieri
we
photo
talked.
back.
We talked about being from Texas, so the
Yeah, that
barbecue
feels-
pit master.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
see
feels
that
likely.
as a lock for truth. Also, working telephone. You know, back in the day wasn't as complicated as it is now. You need a tiny screwdriver, but back then you just needed some of the parts you could have did. I think you
But
could have did that.
counterpoint on the phone one, who's using old phones? Like, what would you be like? I just want to waste a bunch of time and rebuild an old phone.
No, I think he was in a shop class.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was phone week.
Oh.
Okay.
We all
By the
have
end of this
phone
week,
week.
y'all better make a phone.
Okay,
Good old
okay.
phone
Got
week.
it, got it,
Yeah.
got it, got it.
Okay, Jared.
I think 3 is the made-up one
Okay, let's
Yeah.
do you have a reason why?
because it's like toilet humor but I will be like really impressed by number 1 if that's true. That's insane. I could not. If you asked me to make a working telephone, I would cry and then I would hit you and I would go to jail.
Okay, Rob, you think it's number 3 as well?
I think it's number 3.
Okay, and
100%.
Aparna?
I'm also thinking 3 because one other thing I thought of is solar power feels eco-friendly, but then a bidet is like, I'm going to waste a bunch of water to wash my butt.
Okay, their audience is strongly against that
Oh, I know.
characterization of bidets.
I felt that.
Yeah, they were like, my bidet is the most eco-friendly part of my house. Because you're not using toilet paper, which is made from trees.
That's
Okay.
true.
Which one was the lie? It turns out, universally, you got it right. I should have made it a more plausible lie. That's what I did. You did make a phone from scratch.
Yeah.
Well,
I
how
did.
old were you?
I was 10.
Whoa.
And how did you do that? And why did you do that?
I wanted to know how a phone worked, so I figured the best way to do it would be to build my own.
Incredible. And the pitmaster, you were the pitmaster that you built it for.
Yeah, and I do build and design smokers to make. So if you're around the Playa del Rey area, come on by. I will smoke some meat for you.
If you had to explain in 60 seconds how to make a working phone, how do you make?
Please.
How do you do that?
I mean, you need a microphone and a speaker, and you need a circuit board that you can wire up to be able to send signals and receive the signals that come off of the line. It's not actually that as hard as it sounds like, but basically a series of wires and tubes with the speakers
And a bell.
And a bell.
Okay.
And a bell.
Okay, the one thing
and a
I
bell.
didn't, the one thing I had to solve for is because I didn't know how to build a cradle, because like it has the switch that you push back when you had to pick up the phone to get a dial tone.
Yeah.
So I had to physically put a switch on it. So you had
You
to
love
switch
a
it.
switch. You
I
guys love switches.
Oh, yeah.
Had to put a switch so that it would ring, and when it rang, you had to switch it so you could say, ahoy hoy. So
Okay.
Simpsons reference, nobody. Okay, all right. Fine.
Let's get a few
Thank you.
more questions if there are any from over here. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Noah. I would eat Beyonce meat as well.
Okay.
I am curious if when I first was learning to cook, I was very.
We'll call it Beyond Say.
Oh, that's good.
You've been sitting on that the whole time.
No, it just came to me. That's why I interrupted a person.
Well, it's alive. We can get their cells.
When I was first learning how to cook, I was really stressed out about food poisoning myself. Can you make lab-grown meat that you can leave out for days at a time and it does not become rotten and is just like prosciutto forever?
Oh.
Great question. Yeah, and the answer is yes, and that it's already done. So the chicken that's made can be at room temperature for 3 weeks and not degrade.
Whoa.
Okay.
It can be in a refrigerator, which, by the way, as you know, can only be for 2 days if regular chicken. There's no bacteria. There's no salmonella.
I wanted to say I did
Oh
not
my
know
God.
that.
Yeah,
about
I did
regular
not
chicken.
know that.
Yeah,
I've been living my
In the
life wrong.
refrigerator.
I've
Great
been eating half rotten turkey
Great
twice a week
question.
my whole life.
Wait, it gets better. In the fridge, if you keep it in the fridge and sealed, it can last. We stopped the experiment at 9 months.
Wow. Because that's when the baby was born.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that Aparna is like, that's exactly what it looked like. It should last much, much, much longer, and the risk of, like, is non-existent for Salmonella, E. coli. You just don't have anything that can make it. Actually, what makes it go bad is light. It's like oil. Like it just goes rancid. You have to protect it from light.
Jared, I do want to just, before we get to you, I just want to say, I get food poisoning more than anyone I've ever met.
Where are you eating?
The problem is I don't like to let food go to waste, so like 100% of the time it's not a mystery. It's like someone goes like, this hummus is bad, we're going to throw it away. And I go, don't you dare waste that food. And then I eat it all. And then I throw up for the next 2 days. And I go, I guess we kind of wasted the hummus either way. And this feels like it could solve it.
To exist.
I think it was not eco-friendly, my solution. But I do think that makes me think this could be really great for me. Okay, Jared.
Okay, so like all food has like the potential for like threat or like harm.
Yeah.
What is the potential of threat and harm from genetically modified food?
Great
Like
question.
how could it go wrong? If it does go wrong, what happens?
What could go wrong? Like, okay, if somebody was trying to say, I'm going to make healthier red meat, and it actually wasn't healthier. Like, it had really high saturated fats, for example, or they made salmon with, like, they said it's going to have lots of omega-3s, but instead it didn't have any. Like, one, it would be like very misleading in terms of its health claims. But in terms of, if you're asking, like, could it like hurt you?
Yeah.
The only thing that could happen is, again, like, it gets contaminated with, like, again, maybe a bad bacteria or something that was in the room where it was made. But that would come from a human. So that could potentially happen. But again, it's really, really hard in modern food facilities to do this. You're more likely to get sick eating like slaughtered meat, like cows and chickens and what have you, than you are to eat like getting sick from genetically engineered food. In fact, most of the recalls that have happened in the U.S., whether it be plants or animals, often come from organic farms, and because there's much less safety regulation around how organic vegetables and fruits and things are grown than compared to conventional.
Okay,
You can have me back. We can talk about organic, and I'm sure that this will really piss off the audience.
No, I mean, I do think that us choosing to do this topic in Los Angeles is almost an invitation to war.
I know.
But I am really interested.
I promise I love Los Angeles.
Yes.
Erewhon, my favorite.
We have three more questions, then we're going to wrap it up. So, yeah, please.
Hi, my name is Hadassah.
Hi, Hadassah.
Hi, my question is...
Wait, which celebrity would you
who
eat?
would I eat? Okay, in this moment right now, it would be Adam Brody.
Okay, great. Oh, great choice.
Come on.
My question is, you mentioned...
I got it. Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants this. Yeah.
You mentioned with the fish that you put eel in it. If people have allergies, how does that work?
Yeah.
So if somebody's allergic to eel,
That's
or
right.
if they're allergic to shellfish, could they eat genetically
Yeah.
modified shellfish?
So, for example, like cultured or cultivated seafood, you can't. If you're allergic to it, this is still the same allergies in it.
Right.
So it's because it's real meat. However, there are people that are trying to make like meat products that remove those allergens entirely genetically. In fact, there is a pig right now that you can buy. Again, you don't realize this all exists. There is a pig, and it has had the gene that causes red meat allergies to be deleted. And so it is advertised on its label. It says, this is suitable for people with red meat allergies. You can eat this pork. It's been genetically engineered to be safer than other pork. I know you. Go ahead.
Or you could clone yourself without the allergies.
Oh, great answer.
Hey.
Okay. All right, next up.
Hi, I'm Nat, and okay, so as for a celebrity, let's say Henry Cavill specifically in The Witcher.
Okay, great.
Solid choice.
And my question goes back to the smoker. Can you smoke lab-grown meat?
Yes.
And does it taste the same?
You can. Part of the thing that you had to do, in fact, again, the guy that did it is, I think, here in the audience, if you want to talk to him later. You actually have to run it through its paces. And so you actually have to, like, cook it, roast it, smoke it, grill it, like all the things you would do with chicken or whatever. I mean, we chose deep fry because I'm from Texas. but yeah, you can do all those things. That's what makes it really cool.
Okay.
Steve, anything you want to add? No? Okay.
Okay. Last question.
Hi, my name's Alyssa, and probably Pedro Pascal.
Okay, great choices.
Solid. Yeah, wow. Great taste. Pun intended.
So I was wondering about like sizing of fruits and like amounts of meats that you could make. Like, is there more risk in doing that? Like, food will expire faster, or it's just like you can't get the chemicals quite right due to the size. Like, you make giant apples or oranges that you share with the whole family or something like that.
Yeah.
That's such a delightful image. That's like a real Stuart Little dinner type situation.
James with the giant peach?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. In fact, it's some of the things that have been played with because you can grow the meat in whatever shape you want. Oh God, I'm giving y'all such a good. So you can grow, like, you can put it in the shape of, like, maybe a chef doesn't want to waste as much meat because you're trimming stuff off. So you grow it in the shape that they would need for their dishes that they make at their restaurant.
But it's not, you don't just work in meat too. It could be vegetables, right? Could be like a giant
veggies
apple.
are a little hard, but people do. I mean, like in Japan, you can buy like vegetables that are shaped. They grow them into different shapes and stuff like. But with meat, it's a lot harder. But you can do it. So, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm just waiting for it.
No, I've been watching them TikToks where the people they trying to grow the pumpkin in the shape of Frankenstein's head, but it always breaks the like plastic thing. So maybe y'all can help those people out. Because they're always like, look for the next part, and then I watch the next part, and it's still just a pumpkin-shaped pumpkin.
That does feel like a very specific piece of your algorithm.
Your For You page is wild.
Yeah, I do love the idea of a giant apple that we all share together as a family. That's like what I now want for my family. Is just
you can buy a genetically engineered apple that you can eat right now.
But not that big. I never
No,
seen
you
a
can't.
big
It's
apple.
called the Arctic apple, and it never browns.
Oh,
so
but
when you cut it, it stays, and it's used specifically for marketed for kids, and like Subway and McDonald's all use this because it has a longer shelf life, and because we eat apples, we don't want to eat apples. Even it's perfectly fine to eat a brown apple. This was genetically engineered to never brown, no matter how many times you cut it.
I love that. My dream still is, though, like a watermelon-sized apple that I share with my family.
Got
That's
it.
what I want you to be working on personally. Okay.
Wait. Okay, so the Arctic apple, like that's the apple if you go to Subway and get apple slices, that's the apple they give you?
More than likely it is, yeah.
But that's like probably not a great apple, right? Just like taste-wise?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not going to Subway for its,
For a bag of, like,
high
apples.
culinary cuisine. You're going there for the bag of Sun Chips that you never will buy otherwise.
That's true. Also, wasn't there something where like Subway tuna wasn't tuna?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, well, we have literally the CEO of Subway
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
there.
There's a red dot on your forehead?
Silent soup. Well, there's so much.
Blown, run.
There is so much more that we could talk about. Unfortunately, we are out of time. So thank you so much, Eric. We are coming to the very end of the show. Let's check in on our points. It does look like Rob Hayes has the most points, and Jared, you have the least, which means Jared, you've won because it's called Wrong Answers Only. Before we go, Eric, what do you hope that audience members will take away from tonight's show?
Okay. One, you can totally eat humans. Beyonce apparently is the #1 celebrity now. I need to update my list. It's no longer Brad Pitt. And the only other thing is, I know it's very hard to know scientific things about where your food's from, but I hope at least I've shown that like there's a lot of things that you can buy right now that are probably blowing your mind or like you can't believe they exist. And these things are already old science. So what we're able to do. But the whole point of this, and everyone's trying to do this, is feed a growing world. And we got to get creative with like things like climate change and having a lot more people and trying to do it in ways that are more sustainable. And so all of these, I know we've been having fun, are all in the service of trying to find a way to make sure that people have the food that they want and can eat, and keep their culinary traditions alive.
That is what Eric hopes that you will take away from today's show. What will you actually be taking away? Aparna, let's start with you. What will you be taking away?
Okay, I learned so much, but I think the thing I'm going to take away is that cows can lay eggs, and then you can do science to the eggs.
Yes. All right. Rob, what will you be taking away from tonight's show?
I'm gonna take two things from tonight's show. The first thing is I'm gonna pour one out every day for the millions of cows that we lose, that we don't hear about it, don't talk about on the news. All these debates, 2 hours, we haven't heard anybody talk about all these dead cows that we got out here. And then the second thing is that shoot, I forgot what you said.
That's okay. It can just be one.
If I remember it, I'm gonna ask for you to come back.
Okay, great.
Fried chicken is not served on plates.
Yeah, that's true. I'll do that.
Well, I knew that coming in. I knew that. Mad fried chickens in boxes and wax paper and all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Jared, what will you be taking away?
I'm going to take away that people on TikTok are trying to make Frankenstein pumpkins.
Okay, yeah, that's a big important one. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much to today's expert, Eric. Thank you to our panelists, Aparna Nancherla, Rob Hayes, and Jared Goldstein. Thank you as well to everyone at the National Academy of Sciences and LabX, in particular Carrie Stover, Noir Nemai, and Ian Merchant. Thank you also to the incredible staff here at Dynasty Typewriter. Please give a big round of applause for Raven, Sophia, Liam, Trent, Sam, Chris, Grace, Kieran, and everyone else. I'm your host, Chris Duffy, and this has been Wrong Answers Only. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was so fun.